Hello everybody, welcome to the Steckline Report. Going to talk a little bit about water this time around. Water. Boy, I tell you what, that's going to be on the minds of a lot of people. Not only today, but much more so in the future. Stand by, we've got some things going on there.
I first got started in the cattle business. My wife and my father-in-law got me into it. I love dealing with the animals and being in the outdoors. At American Ag Credit, I know a lot of them are in the same business that I am. Therefore they understand what I need and what problems I'm against, so they can work with you on it, and it makes it much easier.
It's been passed down to me through the generations, and I want to pass it on down to the next generation or two.
For over 8 decades, America's farmers have counted on the little red tractor from Case IH, the Farmall, to help them make short work of their demanding chores. Well, Straub International can show you they aren't just for farms anymore. With horse ranging from 30 to 140, plus an army of attachments, a Farmall can tackle every chore on your to-do list, from hauling and mowing to loading and towing, and then some. Visit Straub International, your Case IH dealer at any of our 7 locations, to find a Farmall that's right for you.
Well, folks, when we talk about a shortage of water, we talk about drought. The first name that comes to our attention, of course, when it comes to a state is California. And it looks like Obama and Vilsack both announced a few days ago, a week or two ago, some nice assistance for the folks in 54 counties in California that are called the primary natural disaster areas due to drought. $100 million in livestock disaster assistance for California producers there. $15 million targeted conservation assistance for the most extreme and exceptional drought areas. $5 million in targeted emergency watershed protection program assistance. So they are knowing in Washington that this is a major problem. Well, along with that, in Kansas, over 100 meetings being held so far because of Governor Sam Brownback's 50-year vision for the future of water in Kansas outlook. He wants input from those who use the water instead of those who are so-called, and I put it in parentheses, experts. Well, anyway, at these meetings, I've just been trying to glean out some of the things that might be of interest to all of us. I got to tell you that supposedly they've got suggestions from almost 5,000 Kansans who have attended these public meetings. In eastern Kansas, the most common concern is the state of federal reservoirs. 2/3 of Kansas and 60% of the state's electricity rely on those particular lakes. The John Redmond Reservoir near Burlington, Kansas, which acts as the backup water supply for the nuclear plant up that direction, has lost 42% of its capacity since it was created in 1954. Some of these things are eye-catching to most of us. In eastern Kansas, they say one thing that's clear are requests for additional watershed work above our reservoir to keep sediment out because that's the cheapest investment we can make. And I'd have to agree with that. I think there's a lot of us that would like to maybe put in a few more watershed districts or ponds and so forth. A little help there would have to be forthcoming before we could do it, and it would be great. In the western part of the state, of course, with all that irrigation, that's on the top of most everybody's mind. The overtapped aquifer remains the top concern. That's not earth-shaking news there. Enhanced management areas known as LEMAs that allow producers to agree to voluntary local water restrictions are the future of water management. In fact, they say they see some promising data coming about new water technology like moisture probes, which can give farmers specific information on how much water they need or can use. There's going to be more stringent enforcement in the future, they say, no doubt about that. Much better monitoring, and in fact, they're on their way to having nearly all irrigation activities in the state under meters, and they're looking at using telemetry where the meter readings go to the internet. You see real-time water usage. Anybody using too much, look out, you've got a penalty coming. Just some of the things about water. Speaking of losses, producers with excessive livestock losses due to storms can maybe get some help under the 2014 Farm Bill. The compensation from that Farm Bill would be for losses above and beyond those that occur under normal circumstances. Spring snowstorms would be a pretty good example, maybe big floods and so forth. But in any event, documentation with calving books, inventories of cows at pregnancy checking time, or calf working events and date stamped images would be useful in those cases to prove your case. And by the way, FSA offices, they're talking about closing a bunch of those again. In fact, out of Washington comes word that they may close 250 of them, but there's a group representing the Farm Services Agency committees that is really fighting against that, and there'll be a lot of those fights left. Land values, they could decline by 30% or more because of predictions of grain prices going down the next 2-3 years, and of course interest rates going up. I don't know if that's big news, but it's something we ought to at least think about. And you think about joining us on the next Steckline Report.